It's time for another amazing chemistry video with Mr. Stapleton. Proudly sponsored by Farming Green Nice Coffee.
Hi guys, this is going to be the video just showing you how to set up your apparatus for reflux or for a distillation that you'll sometimes do associated with the preparation of an ester or the hydrolysis of an ester. So I'll just introduce you quickly to some of the glassware you'll be using. Okay, this is a pear-shaped flask. Okay, this is a condenser. Okay, and these are the two main ones you'll be using when you're doing a reflux. Okay, so I'm going to show you that firstly. First thing you want to do is make sure you've got some boiling chips. Okay, boiling chips help to make sure that this maintains a nice steady boiling rate when we're doing it. Otherwise you might get some gases that build up and then they basically the gas bubbles pop and it causes some of your liquid to come out the top, and you don't want that. So just a couple of little granules, you just put them in. It's always easier to do this before you start connecting everything up. Okay, then put your solutions in. I'm just using water today because I'm not actually doing a reflux. But if you're making an ester, add in your carboxylic acid and your alcohol plus some concentrated sulfuric acid. Now, your concentrated sulfuric acid is a catalyst. It provides an alternative reaction pathway with a lower activation energy. So that increases the rate of formation of our ester because organic reactions tend to be quite slow. Quite often what we'll do as well is use an excess of one of the reagents. So we might put in excess alcohol, and that helps to increase the yield of our ester because you've got higher concentration. So according to the Chateau's principle, equilibrium will shift to counteract that higher concentration, and so it will shift towards the product side to make more of our ester. So that increases our yield. To set it up, heat-proof mat, Bunsen burner, you have a tripod and a gauze mat on top. And the idea is that you just have your pear-shaped flask, okay, sitting on top of your gauze mat like that, and then you just clamp it in. Okay, you don't need to go too tight, but make sure it just doesn't wobble too much. Before you connect your condenser, right, the best thing to do is to actually put your hoses on. All right, now I've done this already, but here's your condenser. All right, the narrow bit is the bottom of your condenser. You have a hose that goes in on the bottom and a hose that goes on the top. Okay, when you're putting these on, I suggest you push and turn a little bit. You want to get them on nice and tight, because if you turn the pressure on and they're not on properly, right, they could pop off, you end up with water everywhere, and then you have to clean it up. The hose that's at the bottom, this is the one that gets connected to your tap. Okay, so you put that onto your tap, and then this one at the top, I always tend to make the one at the top a bit longer. This is the one you put down your drain, and that's where the water goes. So before you connect it all up, you will need to grab some silicone grease or some petroleum jelly. Okay, and what you do is you get a small amount of that on the end of your finger, and then you actually put it around and grease this joint. All right, now the joint that you're greasing is a little bit frosty coloured or opaque. Okay, you will put some on it until it goes clear, basically. Okay, then you put it in and just rotate it a little bit so that it goes clear. Okay, now you're set up for your reflux. Connect these hoses up. All right, get your water going before you start your reflux. All right, you want it just nice and gently so that it sort of bubbles through here. Okay, not too much pressure, but you want a constant flow of water through there. Okay, heat it up. All right, and you want to get this starting to just bubble gently. Okay, you should see some condensation of your vapor occurring around about here in the bottom third of your condenser. Okay, if you get it boiling around there and dropping back down at a nice steady rate, beauty. All right, you've got your reflux all set up. We'll leave it for about 35 to 40 minutes. All right, the heat helps to increase the rate of a reaction. Particles move faster and they have more energy, so there's more successful collisions per unit time with energy greater than or equal to the activation energy, so it increases the rate of formation of our ester. So where at the beginning you probably had just one layer, okay, now you should see two distinct layers. And that's because you formed an organic ester, which is water insoluble. It can't hydrogen bond, okay, it can only dipole-dipole bond between molecules, so it has a much lower boiling point, but it's also insoluble in water. Okay, so once you've seen those, all right, what you can now do is start to extract out your ester, okay, or boil it off. So you take your condenser out and you put in this new little piece of equipment called the Y-shaped adapter. Okay, grease both joints around here, okay, and have a thermometer that sits in at the top, and you want it sitting right at the neck of the flask here. Okay, you want it that way because that will allow you to actually, any vapor that comes off when you connect it up, any vapor that comes off, you'll see the boiling point being red right at that point. What you now do is it's good to bring over another retort stand. This time you've got the clamp turned around so it's running vertically. Okay, and you're going to clamp your condenser onto the side here. Okay, so make sure that joint is greased, as I said. Slide your condenser on. Okay, it's always good if you've got two people doing this, and then clamp your condenser in place. Okay, once you've got that clamped in place, all right, the last thing you'll need is this little collector. Okay, you grease this end, it should be still greasy from being in set up for reflux, and have this go on the end. All right, just rotate it around so it sits nice and safely. Put a beaker underneath. Now what you're going to do is get this boiling at a nice steady rate. All right, your vapour should come up through here and should be condensing again about the top third of your condenser here. Record the boiling point that it comes off at. What you should note is that it should jump up and stay at around about one range, so it might be 86 to 88 for example, okay? And then it'll jump up to another range like 110. Every time it jumps up, change your collector, all right, and put a new one underneath, and then you're collecting off the ranges that come over, and just make a note of those, okay? Once you've collected a sample down the bottom here, this should be mostly pure, and what you might want to do is just try and purify it a little bit more. So what we do is we bring out a new piece of equipment called a separating funnel. So a separating funnel looks like this, okay? It's got a tap on it, an open end, okay? Up and down, so vertical is open, horizontal is closed, okay? You also normally have a stopper that goes with it as well, okay? So what you do is you take your sample that you've distilled off and you'll pour it into here. So what we've got is our sample that's inside, and you can see we've still got two layers in here. What you'll do when you're extracting it is you want to be able to get anything that is insoluble in water into the organic layer and anything that is soluble in water into the aqueous layer, okay? So sometimes, in particular, carboxylic acids can kind of be mixed between the two. So one thing we use is sodium carbonate solution, okay? When you put that in, that reacts with the acid, all right, to form the carboxylate ion. And that carboxylate ion is water soluble due to the ion dipole interaction. So that goes into the aqueous layer, and normally that then just leaves you with your ester in the organic layer, okay? So we add in our sodium carbonate solution. What you do is you stopper it, okay, and you invert it and start mixing. Now, whether you're using carbonate or any other solution, the good method to do is normally 2 swirls. You stop and then you open the tap. Now, if your tap's a bit tight, just loosen it at the end. You open the tap and you should hear it, which is gas escaping, because you're producing carbon dioxide gas in the sodium bicarbonate or sodium carbonate reaction, okay? Close the tap, swirl it back around again, open it up to let the gas out, swirl it back around again, and you keep going, okay, until you get no more gas escaping. All right, that shows you that you've reacted all your acid with your sodium bicarb. Okay, you invert it, take your stopper out, or you're not going to be able to actually open the tap. Put it back in a retort stand. Open the tap, start to drain it out. Okay, now if you're wanting the bottom layer, you will drain it until you just start to get to the top layer, and then you'll stop. If you want the top layer, you drain it just till your top layer starts to come through, and then you stop. Okay. What we'll then do maybe as the last thing is add some maybe calcium chloride in, some fused calcium chloride, which is anhydrous. That means it will absorb water, okay, and that will get rid of any last little water molecules in your ester. Okay, so hopefully this has been fairly straightforward for you. What I suggest you maybe go back and have a look at it again, check you can get your reflux and everything set up, check you know how to convert over to your distillation as well, and to use your separating funnel. Okay. Hope this has been useful. If there's anything other questions you need, just ask me. Thanks guys, see ya.